What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch back here with another NFL video, and in this video, I am going to give you my prediction for the leader of every important statistical category for the 2019 NFL season. From passing yards to interceptions, I'll give you my best guess on who is going to lead each stat in 2019. Gronk, spike the like button, subscribe to The Bottom Line View for more NFL videos just like this, and comment below your opinion. Who do you have leading the NFL in every statistical category? Let's kick the video off, starting off with the passing yards. Which quarterback is going to lead the NFL in passing yards? When I think of a player that's going to lead the NFL in passing yards, typically, I'll think of a player that is on a very good offense, is a very good quarterback, and possibly has a defense that isn't very good, meaning that these games are going to go down to the wire. There's going to be a lot of shootouts, and in my opinion, my selection is going to be Matt Ryan of the Atlanta Falcons, because I'm not the biggest believer in Atlanta's defense this season, but I've made a video on it. I do believe that Atlanta's offense is going to have a ton of firepower, is going to be very explosive. And Matt Ryan had a fantastic season last year from a yardage standpoint. I believe he carries that over into 2019 with all the targets he has around him in Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Mohamed Sanu, Austin Hooper, Devontae Freeman back in the fold, and an improved offensive line. I think this is going to be a huge Matt Ryan season, and he's going to put up multiple 300-yard games. If I had to guess, I would say Matt Ryan is somewhere around another 5,000-yard season. Passing touchdown-wise, I think of a quarterback that's going to be on a very good team, possibly a playoff team. They're going to score a lot of points. I kind of flip between Baker Mayfield and Carson Wentz. Of course, a lot of people will go with Patrick Mahomes, but that's just a boring pick. So no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go with Carson Wentz. And the reason being is that I do believe that the Eagles will be the best team in the NFC. I think they're going to be winning a lot of games. And I do believe the Eagles offense is one of the 5 best in football. Also, Carson Wentz's weapons have improved from last season, adding Deshaun Jackson. Of course, they have Zach Ertz, Alshon Jeffrey, who's actually healthy now. I think that the Eagles are going to be explosive on offense, a team that's winning a lot of games, scoring a lot of points, and I see Carson Wentz delivering a lot of passing touchdowns to all the targets he has at his disposal. The rushing department, let's start off with rushing yards. I am going to go with the guy that I do believe is the best running back in the league, and that is Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley, to me, I've made a video on it as well. I believe he can be the greatest running back we have ever seen. He won the breakout athlete at the ESPYs. I believe that Saquon Barkley is going to deliver his stamp on the NFL this season in his second season and really breaking out as, okay, yeah, this guy is really the best running back in football. And even if the Giants aren't a very good team, they're going to hand the football to Saquon a cajillion times. He is the entire offense. The offensive line is improved with Kevin Zeitler, and Saquon breaks out really more big-time runs than any other running back in football, which makes me believe that even if he's having a rough day, it's just one play and he can go 80 yards. Rushing touchdowns, I'm going with more of the safe selection, but I do believe this is the correct selection. Ezekiel Elliott. I'm a big believer in the Cowboys this year. I do believe they will be back in the playoffs. And that being said, Dak Prescott, the new Kellen Moore offense, I think Zeke will have many opportunities to score in the red zone. While Saquon Barkley may have more yardage, in my opinion, Zeke did lead that category last season. I think Zeke is probably going to have around 20 touchdowns combined, and rushing touchdowns, he'll probably have around 15. So Zeke is a safe choice, but I think the right choice to lead the NFL in rushing touchdowns with Travis Frederick back at center. Leading the NFL in receptions in 2019, I do believe will be DeAndre Hopkins. The man just gets peppered with targets from Deshaun Watson. He's his true number 1, and when you look at who's behind him, Will Fuller is a quality number 2, but is rarely on the football field. They don't have much at tight end. Their running backs don't really contribute much. Everything, every play, every situation, it's going to DeAndre Hopkins. Deshaun Watson absolutely loves him. They have a great combination. And also when you think about receptions for a receiver, you think about a good combination between a quarterback and a receiver. Of course, Julio Jones is there. You could think of Michael Thomas, who led this category, I do believe, in 2018. Juju Smith-Schuster, I think, is an under-the-radar choice because there's no more Antonio Brown. And speaking of Antonio Brown, he's going to be peppered with targets in Oakland. But I do believe that it will be DeAndre Hopkins at the end of the day that leads this category. Receiving yards, I wanted to go outside the box because Julio Jones has pretty much dominated this category for the past few seasons. But a guy that was really up there last season was Mike Evans. And I think Mike Evans in 2019, being that this is going to be a Bruce Arians offense, they're going to be passing the football a ton. I don't think the Bucs will be a very good team, which means that they'll be trailing a lot in football games, which allows for more yardage through the air. Also, they lost two big-time receivers in Deshaun Jackson and Adam Humphries. Those yards need to go somewhere. I think some of them will go to Mike Evans, and Mike Evans, I think, will take his turn in leading the NFL in receiving yards. Receiving touchdowns, very difficult category. Immediately, my mind went to Davante Adams. This is the hardest to actually predict because touchdowns are very up and down for a lot of players. Julio Jones doesn't typically get a lot of touchdowns, so I'm not going to go with him. DeAndre Hopkins would be a good choice. I am going to go with Odell Beckham Jr. because I thought of Baker Mayfield for passing touchdowns, and being that Carson Wentz doesn't really have a true go-to guy, he spreads the wealth a lot. I'm going to go with Odell in his first season with Cleveland. I think finally as a quarterback, I think he's going to explode this season. I could see him getting a lot of 40, 30 plus yard touchdowns this season in Cleveland. I think Cleveland has a okay defense, but it's not good enough to the fact that I think there'll be a lot of high-scoring games in Cleveland. So Baker, Odell, first season together, leading the NFL in receiving touchdowns. Sacks. Let's go to the defensive side of the football. I believe I made this my choice last year, and I'm going to go with it again until it happens. Myles Garrett, so two players from the Cleveland Browns. And again, for sacks, you have to think about a team that's going to be in kind of passing situations. Maybe they're going to be a good team that's leading a lot. That's really why the Chiefs had so many sacks last season. Typically, the Steelers have a lot of sacks. Usually, the better teams have the leading sackers. And Myles Garrett, I believe his team will go to the playoffs. I also believe that they'll be in a lot of high-scoring games with a lot of passing, which means that Myles Garrett will have a lot of opportunity to sack the quarterback. Not to mention, Olivier Vernon will take away some of the attention he's had over the past couple of seasons, which will open him up to more one-on-ones or more opportunities to get after the quarterback. Myles Garrett is my choice to lead the NFL in sacks. Interception-wise, I am going with Earl Thomas. This is kind of a crazy pick. He's never led the NFL in interceptions, so I want to go with Earl Thomas. At least I don't believe he's ever led the NFL in interceptions. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Earl Thomas is going to be the guy to lead the NFL in interceptions. I'm just throwing it out there, but it would be an awesome story if he did. Coming back from injury on a new team in Baltimore, being the new Ed Reed for Baltimore. I do think Ed Reed will have plenty of opportunity as the Ravens have a very good defense. They have a very good secondary. I think a lot of passes will be threaded in there in the middle of the field, and Earl Thomas has that reaction time, that ability, that awareness to pick a pass off and take it the distance even. Also, Earl Thomas, before his injuries, has been on this pace of interceptions that's been pretty impressive. I think this is an under-the-radar pick. If he comes back fully at 100%, I think Earl Thomas is not a bad bet to lead the NFL in interceptions, and I would absolutely love to see it, so that's why I'm going with it. Those are my selections to lead the NFL in every important statistical category. Let me know yours in the comment section below. It's Mitch of TheBottomLineView. Thanks for watching, and peace out.